Hey, scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a DIY Your Scraps video, and I am going to be making 15 3x4 cards out of my scraps from the Cocoa Daisy Book Club collection. Now, I loved this collection for its actual books and coffee sayings. They are everywhere. It is chock full of them. However, I'm kind of in a place right now where I'm not really reading too much, and so I didn't get a chance to use all the books and coffee stuff. Well, I used the coffee stuff, but I didn't use the book stuff the way that I wanted to. So I'm going to create a bunch of book-themed 3x4 cards that I can incorporate into a book journal that I want to keep later on down the line. These are two dashboards from the dashboard add-on, and I'm cutting them down to 3x4 size so that they can be their own cards. I just kind of cleaned out my planner and looked to see if anything was still usable for another purpose, and these were the two dashboards that could be cut down into 3x4s. The one with the owl on it is actually a little bit thinner than a 3x4 because of the way I had to cut it, so he's going to have to get backed onto something else. So I'm going to cut him into a banner, and then I'm going to back him on a different card. Don't worry, I will be moving this stuff up a little bit in just a second so that you can see a little bit better. I did a lot of this standing up, so the angle of my video was a little bit off for a little bit, but don't worry, it will fix in just a second. Just going to add to this one that little book there and then put it aside. So I start with this one, and I don't know, I just wasn't focused or something because I put everything down too high and I didn't like it on this coffee background after it went down, and so I'm actually going to toss this one aside and use the other side of it instead because this was like, no, that's no good. Nope, we're going to use the other side. So this was one of the 3x4s from the collection, and I'm just going to embellish it. So I do a series of cards, and they aren't all necessarily from cut down paper and all of that. Sometimes I add to the cards that already exist so that they're a little bit more interesting. So I added this bookworm and the book and a little birdie. Here's another card that I'm going to add to. It says, "Leave me alone, I'm reading." I'm going to add "loving this" to it, and some hearts. Don't worry, I will bring all these back down so you can see them up close and personal. This whole video took me a little over an hour, so it's sped up quite a bit to be able to fit into a video. And so we'll bring it down so you can look at them all. And some of them will be more involved anyway. I'm just starting with the easy ones. So that one had a bunch of books, and I put the borrower's card tag over it with a cut down from another Project Life card that had journaling lines on it. I'm creating like a little collage here. I like big books. Had that song stuck in my head the entire time I was making this. And of course you need a little birdie too. I had lots and lots of little birdies left over after the end of the month, so there's lots of birdies making appearances on these cards. Those are two rub-ons. So many rub-ons in this collection. I'm going to add them to, somehow I lost part of that L, which made me mad. I don't know where it went. So I'm going to have to cover it up, but I'm going to add it to the tag here so that they're both on a white background. Then I'm going to have to figure out a clever way to cover up the fact that part of that L is missing, but make it so that it's still readable. That heart started missing a piece too, so at least they match. This little library card is from the sticky notepad. Alright, so now how to cover up the missing L. I'm going to start here with this book plate journaling label. I'm not really in love with it though, so we'll see what happens. So many books, so little time. I'm going to add another little birdie saying that. But I'm not really a fan of how this is coming together. Give the birdie a book, because that only makes sense. So I put the book plate behind it, and I decided to add the book over the missing L instead. So then I reorganized the rest of this, and I like that a little bit better, but this birdie's on a circle, so he's got to go. We'll add birdies on a wire instead, and that's cuter. I like that. So this is half of a 4x6 card, so there's some words missing. So I'm going to have to come back to that one so that I can contemplate how I'm going to cover up the extra words. I'm going to add these two labels here to the stack of books. Reading right now as the title on it. I like it. I feel like there's like an extra empty space up there at the top. So I was thinking about filling up that empty space, but I added a bird to the bottom, so that's not helpful. I need something at the top though. So I'm auditioning a bunch of word strips, and I decided to go with a circle instead so it wouldn't be too repetitive. And then I add the little circle birdie that I'd pulled off the other card, and we're good. Books make me happy. That leafy pattern is a pattern block from both of that, and the blue one are pattern blocks from these sticker kits. They make good little pattern layers for these journal cards. So I'm going to center it right in the middle there, or at least try to. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it does have to be not crooked, which takes a second. I'm going to add these books here. I liked the way that those colors interacted together better than on the green. Then I'm going to add a little label underneath, which I should have done first. There we go. Moving on. So I need to cover this up, and I'm going to do it with this pattern tape sticker, and this it's like a title rectangle from the Daisy Weeks collections, and it fits on these 3x4 cards perfectly. And then I didn't love how everything was just kind of weird and horizontal on this card, so I needed something to break up all of the horizontal lines. So I'm going to add this circle with a little birdie. I feel like there still needs to be something. So I'm kind of trying to figure it out. Of course I add another horizontal line, but this one is kind of more interesting. That circle on the end was kind of bugging me, but I decided to let it go. I'm going to add this dictionary-ish paper over the book paper as a banner, and then create some places to journal. Those are more cast-offs from a journaling card that I had cut down. I believe I had cut them down for, it was for the 3x3 pocket page that I had made with this collection. So I had a bunch of like 1 inch by 3 inch strips, and a lot of them had journaling on the back, so that worked out really well. Ugh, this broke my heart. It said read more books, and it just messed up when I tried to rub it on. So I had to cover up the little mess up, and I didn't get to use that read more books, which made me so sad. And I can't move that rub on that I had already put down, so I'm going to put a little pattern strip of tape between the rub-on and the journal strips. And I need something that's kind of title-like for the card. I'm going to add that this is a good story. So here's the back of that journaling card that I messed up before. Another pattern, or another block from the sticker kit. I cut off some notches from this pattern block, so I have to cover that up. I just went right over the design that I messed up before because the block said all you need is books and coffee, so I wanted those coffee rings. And I'm going to use this as a little bit of washi just to fill in that space at the top there. And I'm going to cut it in half because it's a little bit too thick. I cut it in a little less than half, I suppose. Cute. Okay, we got a couple of cards left sitting over here, so I have this brown tag I'm going to use as a base layer. And another quote block. So it's just one more chapter that I'm going to trim down. I put it on this pretty vellum, which is a bummer that you have to cover up so much of the shiny bits of the vellum, but there is enough of the shine just kind of peeking around the edges to make it interesting. I trimmed it and cut off the bottom, and I didn't like that little corner down there that was still visible, so I moved it down just a little bit more so you didn't have that weird overlap. I'm going to tie the bow, of course. And I'm going to add this little plastic book that is actually the top of a paper clip that came in the collection. I'm not a big paper clip person, so I just pulled the charm off the top of the paper clip. I'm going to create another list here. I like big books and I cannot lie. And this is going to be like a reading list card, so I can put multiple books. I tend to read more than one book at a time, so that works for me. Need something at the top again. More pattern. It's a good way to use up these washi pattern strips that I have left over anyway. Cute. Okay, so I pull all of these, or start pulling all of these cards down because I have officially run out of all of the patterned paper that I had cut down and all of the cards that I had pulled aside. Once I get this owl situated, man. The amount of times I moved that book sticker because that owl was just too big. Much better with the little tiny birdie. Anyway, I start pulling them down and laying them out so I can look at them all together. Look how cute. They make me so happy. Okay, so I start pulling them out, and then I realize that I have 14, and I have like this little empty space up here, and that just really bugs me. So I decided to create one more. So I'm going to cut down this paper, even though it's not quite 3 inches wide. I'm going to cut it down to a 3x4, 3-ish by 4. And I'm going to create another card. And this is the notepad from the planner kit. And I'm going to use it as a journaling block, but I don't want it to say what it says, which is why are you taking a note when you could be reading or something like that. Plus it's a little bit too big. So I'm going to cover up that part, but I like the little birdie standing on a bunch of books. So I got to figure out what to cover it up with, and I start with this see-through washi, and that was dumb. There we go. I'm going to use this pattern block here, and I cut it into a banner, and it still leaves like a little tail of that quote bubble visible, so I have to cover that up. So I'm going to do that with this circle. Maybe. There we go. Alright, that's good. What else do we need to add here? I'm just going to hack off that little banner tail with the X-Acto knife. And then I'm going to use this little book circle, and I'm going to add one more circle down here and call it good. So that is all 15 cards. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe, and I would love to have you. And if you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. My handle is @TracyMReed, and let me know in the comments below if you like videos like this. I love making them, so I just want to make sure you like watching them. Alright, thank you.